Good morning. I understand that budget cuts have to happen, and I understand programs can't continue until there are more funds. But I would ask the board to consider another option to be able to pave some of the roads that are not included in the MSTU project. And a suggestion I would like to make is perhaps there's a way that the county could finance the road project and then be reimbursed by the homeowners themselves, so that the homeowners end up paying 100% of the property, 100% of the improvement costs back to the county, but the county would be the bank, so to speak, to be able to get this done. In my particular neighborhood, there are going to be almost all the roads except one that is vital to the access into the neighborhood. And if we could be able to take advantage of the MSTU program that's already existing and set to be voted on, I guess, in August, or accepted hopefully by the board, then it would be a great savings to everybody else in the neighborhood rather than waiting another year to 3 years until the MSTU program could possibly be reevaluated. So what I'm asking for is an opportunity for us to be able to take advantage of machines in the neighborhood, the lesser costs now versus a couple of years ago, and not guessing what potential costs in the future would be. So I would ask the board to entertain thoughts of how we as homeowners could pay the board back, the county back, to have road improvements done now.
George?
The MSTU program sets up a process where we front all the money and go do a project. We then collect from the residents. What you've just heard is a change from our current ordinance, and from a staff perspective, I think we could support that change. You in the MSTU program right now, when you do a water project, if the neighborhood wants it, they're agreeing to pay 100% of the cost. For a road project, the MSTU limits our collection to 50%. To honor the request, and we think we should, we'd like some direction for you to tell us to go back and change the ordinance to allow road projects to be assessed up to 100%. That way the county's got no exposure, that the residents want to do this. And just as was explained, we could act as the front person and act as the collection entity as part of the tax bills. So it's a good thing that if a neighborhood really wants to do it, they all get together and you can assess that and make that happen.
So how do you specifically answer his request today on a project that is going through our system right now?
Two things that we would have. Well, the project going through the system's already been bid for his other roads. He's doing a road that hasn't been designed or bid, and we can look at that as far as trying to do that. But we need to make an ordinance change. We need to get legal to bring back the ordinance to let us go to that 100% assessment, because we can't under the current MSTU ordinance. So we can start that process to make the change. In the meantime, we've been meeting with Commissioner Santa Maria, since this is in his district, and talking about, well, let's see how we could structure this to set it up and what charge would be on the residents in that neighborhood, because again, the cost would be assessed to multiple residents in that neighborhood, and we could bring back some options when we brought back the ordinance change to get further direction on this. So I think we're interested in moving forward, particularly with the 100% process in here, to allow us to see if it works in this particular neighborhood and to open it up for other neighborhoods that may want to take advantage of it, just like the water projects or anybody else that have been doing it for years.
Commissioner Marcus?
No, answer my question.
Commissioner Santa Maria?
Yes, I met with Mr. Schaller and Mr. Webb yesterday, and I felt that this was a good way of accommodating the community and making it completely paved. It would improve the values of the entire community, and really they would pick up 100% of the cost. So we'd advance the funds, I guess, through a bond, to the MSTU arrangement, and they would pay us back. But instead of the usual 50-50, it will be 100% on their part. So really, there's not much exposure on our end, while improving a community that wants to take advantage of the program.
So I think we're looking for some direction to start the amendment, to allow amendment to the ordinance, and then bring back, in this particular instance, how it could potentially work in that neighborhood. So,
Commissioner
George, just a quick question, follow-up. Could you give us a approximate dollar amount that would be the responsibility of each homeowner in this particular case?
I think the road in question we're talking about, order of magnitude is going to be around 250, 300,000. So depending on the number of households, and I'm going to do it that way instead of a running foot, if we have 100 to 200, and I'm not sure what the number is, that's what I need to go back and investigate. I think there's 400 total houses in their neighborhood, but not all would be using or would reasonably be assessed against this. So if it's 100 or if it's 200, you simply divide 300,000. If it's 100, each one would pick up 1,000. If it's 200, each one would pick up whatever my number is here. So 300,000 divided by 2,000 or 200 residents, so 1,500 each.
So it's between
1,500 to 3,000.
between 1,500 to 3,000 spread over 20 years.
Spread over 20 years,
So
correct.
it's a few $100s a year.
Yes.
Okay, now we're ready for a new motion.
I'd move that we authorize the staff to bring back the ordinance to allow for 100% payment by homeowners in the appropriate areas.
Second. For the motion by Commissioner Marcus, second by Commissioner Aronson. Ready for the question? All in favor, all opposed? Ayes have it, 7-0.
Just a point of order. Is there any way to catch him up with the existing project going through?
We're going to try, it's going to be real close if we can, because our existing project is ready to start work, so.
Yeah, just a good faith effort.
We know.
Okay.
We'd like to do that. That will help cost-wise to do that.
Commissioner Marcus?
Is there no way that we can, the contractor's still out there, correct, finishing?
Yes, he's finishing.
There's no way we can say, stick around, we want to go ahead and do this? I mean, the amount you're talking about is over a 20-year period, or is it 10 years?
Whichever you decide,
Right.
yes.
So it's not a, one-time hit, but I would think that if we could just ask the contractor who's out there, he can't be completely finished. That was the idea in the beginning. That's where the savings was going to be. They're out there, let's keep them mobilized, let's just do this one strip of road, and let's get it done.
Okay, let's...
We like him, but we really don't want to see him again. We want you to go out there and pave his road.
I committed a lot that we'd work on this. I know I was on the record quoted, so we have to do a better job.
Bob?
In this case, the original problem with this project is a number of side streets were built, but the cross street, which is Fargo, is not included in that assessment. And that should not have happened, probably. Correct. The question is, why did that not happen? And I'm not clear what the answer to that is. I don't know if it's a flaw on our part for not including it. If we had included it at that point in time, would the whole assessment not been done? It's just not clear to me what the answer to that is. So we've got to have a higher level of management attention as to how these things get initiated and how they move forward. And I'll do that.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
But for the purposes of this one little road, could you get involved, and could you do whatever you could not to make him wait 16 months?
Yes, ma'am.
So that if we can ask the contractor out there, if we can get the stuff done, just get it done, and then we'll worry about the longer, bigger problems.
You can count on it.
Thank you.